And we are live. Roundtable reviews R&R with the Lords. And we have a special guest in the realm today, Lord Jameson. How you doing, sir?
Very good. Thank you, Lord Incognito. It's a pleasure to be here. An honor.
No doubt, no doubt. You know, it's a little bit of CBC throwback action. This guy, he's one of the pioneers in film. And this is what we used to do back in the day, man. Salute to the crew and all that. But we just came out of Spiderman, Far From Home. And we've got a lot to discuss real quick, so we're just going to break it down. Raw reaction, spoiler cast. If you haven't seen it already, please do not watch this because this is not for you. Go see it. So we just came out of it, so I'm going to start with Lord Jameson. We just saw the film and 2 post-credits. What are your thoughts, sir?
I mean, I'm still processing it, right? Okay. You know? I would say the first thing that comes to mind is... I watched Homecoming a couple days ago, just sort of prep for this. Yeah. And I mean, all the flash and spectacle and everything is great. You always expect that in these Marvel movies, top notch. But I think what they do with the character moments and all the kids in the high school, man, that is what makes these movies really, really good. The humor, the emotion, like the relationship they're building with MJ, like. I don't know. Everybody's got CG. Everybody can make big explosions. And even though part of the movie is about sort of all that being fake, which is cool. I thought
that was cool. That freaked me out.
that was incredible, and it was a big twist to see all that and to get inside of it. But that was sort of my first gut reaction was, man, they know what they're doing with the kids and the characters, and you just enjoy everybody that's playing those characters. And Tom Holland, man, he is
the
real deal.
Yeah, let me jump in. I mean, this is different. My perspective, coming from the first one, which was Homecoming, is, I'll be honest, like, I knew they had the character and they had the rights, right? So I knew that they were going to approach it differently by not doing the typical origin story and all. I get that part. But the only thing I struggled with part one was just that I was tired of Peter being like, Papa Stark, you know, every 5 minutes. And I wanted him to build, and I felt this movie started to bridge him on his own. And I loved the MJ relationship. I loved how they, in my opinion, how they handled it, and just like with the reveal of the identity. You know what I'm saying? I felt that needed to happen because it's like, so it was a little too comic booky. Like, no one knows where he's at. Come on, y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Spidey, he out here. You know what I'm saying? So. That part, the Mysterio thing, I was interesting to see how they were going to handle that, where they was going to go with that. I thought that was, for the most part, well done. I liked the movie. I must admit, like, I didn't know what to expect. I liked the movie. I really felt it heated up towards the end. And again, some key moments for me, I think, was the Happy situation, the glasses, the handing it over to him for a reason. Now, we're going to get to the post-credit. I'll get to that later. But I want you, like, give me some key moments for Lord Jameson that really stood out for you that you liked.
See, I mean, really, so I have had friends of mine accuse me of liking NYU movies because I went to NYU, and I always used to try to get my friends to watch these smaller independent movies.
No doubt.
Everyone loves the big blockbusters. I love them too. Yeah. But really, like, it was those smaller interactions that really, like, the first movie, they said it was inspired by John Waters' movies back in the 80s. And, like, and that really, to me, is like the relationship between him and Ned, just all those little interactions with Flash. Like, that really, honestly, is the part that I enjoy the most. It has, I'm grinning ear to ear as as those kids are sort of navigating Europe. I mean, Martin Starr as the great, you know, like a guy who can carry his own movie is like a side character here who's really, really great. So, and also the tiny details that sort of have Kevin Feige, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Feige.
The legendary Kevin Feige. We will not besmirch his great name.
Yes. I love his fingerprints on it, right? Like, when they first reveal Mysterio and they start cutting back to, like, these characters are from the older movies.
Yo, that was dope.
All the way back to Iron Man 1.
That was dope.
Like, I mean, that is just, the web is so intricate, and they just are so well thought out when they're putting these movies together.
Good point.
Like, that really impressed me as well. Like, I was,
I remember that. I was like, okay.
I actually want to go back and watch Iron Man again and see if that bald actor's actually in it.
Facts. And then, like, the whole Mysterio thing with him being like almost like a jilted tech lover who's been shunned, and now it's like, I need to take this stuff back. I really like that approach. I didn't know where they were going with his origin story. I'm not the biggest Mysterio guy, but I felt his inclusion, the way they handled that, I thought was cool. Because I'll be honest, like, I didn't know what to make of Gyllenhaal coming into it, but whoa, I see the face. Oh, whoa.
I was just trying to remember right now. I feel like I'm getting a sense of deja vu, and I mean, didn't they basically use the same principle in Iron Man 3, where what's his face was also the tech guy, and the nerdy guy, and it's like, oh, Tony Stark, burn me, and I'm gonna get back at him. And now I'm
That's
just
true.
realizing they're kind of recycling.
Yeah, that is kind of true. That's kind of true. One thing I didn't like, let's just nitpick again. It's like because I want the Spider-Man. Here's my perspective. I want the Spider-Man character to shine. Right. I want you to see because he's a powerful character in his own right. So I guess like. The explanation or non-explanation of the Peter Tingle. Let's just get I'm just like, okay, why doesn't he have that ability right now? I don't feel that was properly explained. I was just curious. Did you catch anything with that?
So I mean, they haven't. I actually kind of like the way they dealt with it because I think it's almost overly common to explain everything.
Okay.
Overly explain everything. And sometimes you get bogged down in those explanations, and those explanations lots of times disappoint people.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just good for a movie to just show something and not
So
really
you
dive
were
in.
okay with him not having his natural ability?
Well, remember, he had it in Endgame. Remember, his hair sticks
Yeah.
up, so he didn't quite know to make of it. They're dealing with it a little bit in the beginning when they call it the Peter Tingle. So obviously it's there. It wasn't fully developed.
Okay.
But the fact that they forced him to really figure that out, and the way they did it as a way to sort of fight these illusions, I actually thought that was really well done at the end. It just forced him to bring those.
Yes, to bring it to the forefront. No
yeah,
doubt.
no explanation, but show don't tell.
No doubt. Now, for me, also, some cool part too. I thought there was some cool Tony Stark throwbacks. I thought they paid homage to the character in a lot of ways. Go ahead, go for it.
Too much? Was it too much?
I was okay with. There was a little freaky part with the Mysterio resurrection part. A little freaked me out a little bit. But as far as look, at the end of the day, Tony Stark is an iconic character for the MCU. And literally, let's be honest, Iron Man saved the MCU. Let's call it what it is. That first Iron Man, we would not be here to all these, films if that didn't happen. So I knew there was going to be some payoff, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I still felt the way the movie progressed, I thought Peter Parker, the Spider-Man character, was finally getting developed, finally being able to show that he can kind of stand on his own. And that's what I wanted to see. Because at the end of the day, I knew, look, they got the rights from Sony. We know what that's about, right? We know contractually. So I just wanted them to now build him so that his next film, okay, it's him. It's not this over-reliance. Yes, he's going to have the tech, but not this over-reliance on a father character to say, hey, help me, what do I do? All the time. That's all I was going to say. What you going to say? Go for it.
Yeah, a couple things about that. I totally agree. He's a character that deserves to shine 100% in the spotlight on his own. He's big enough and he has enough to do that. So it's definitely time for him to get there. And this movie pretty clearly was sort of that
that bridge. Yeah.
Exactly, that bridge. But the other thing, and I agree, with the whole zombie Iron Man thing, I was a little so something interesting about Marvel getting the rights to Spider-Man. So if this movie didn't make $1 billion, they were going to lose the rights.
Yeah.
So obviously it's making $1 billion.
Okay, clearly it's making $1 billion.
Every one of these movies does. So now they get one more movie.
Right.
And the future beyond that is not entirely clear.
That is true.
So I don't know. It'll be really curious to see where they take it from here. Obviously, they have big ideas with the post credits and everything. But the boardroom stuff is really fascinating. It's, most people aren't talking about that stuff, but it really. Let's say in some alternate universe, the multiverse, this movie doesn't make $1 billion.
Right.
Boom, Tom Holland, everything. This is all gone.
It's all gone. Facts. So let's get to as far as the post credits. Right? There were some things dropped. Now I know Lord Jameson has not seen Captain Marvel, and I'm gonna probably take over a little bit on some parts. But I was very surprised where they went with this post credit. So initial reaction from me was that Nick Fury and Homegirl are Skrulls. They were all along. And clearly, Nick Fury's on vacation. Clearly, he's not doing his job, and these guys were the stand-ins. Now, just to get you up to speed, again, not to spoil it too much because I know you still intend on seeing Captain. So can I go in? Okay. So here's the thing. So basically, the scrolls. It's my fault.
I should have seen it.
But here's the thing. The scrolls basically, the way the story was portrayed was that actually that they are the ones that's been taken from their world and stuff like that. They're still the shapeshifters, but they were kind of painted in Captain Marvel initially as these evil race that shapeshifted. But the reality is the Kree kind of forced them from their hands. So they're kind of a sympathetic figure. Marvel has changed the narrative and made the Skrulls the sympathetic feature. And then they ended up being kind of befriended by Captain Marvel at the end and helping out towards the end of her film. So now this relationship with Fury, you can see it's broadened and stuff like that. So now he's in space, and there seems to be more of a cosmic presence now with him. So I'm curious to see where that's going to, because I'm a big Silver Surfer fan. And I was told I need to watch this, right? Now, I might have to watch it again just from the simple fact to get all the connections, you know what I'm saying? But this is definitely setting up Nick Fury in a cosmic Fury, almost like a cosmic, I don't say police, but he's out there. He's clearly monitoring stuff. So that's what I got from it. I know you didn't see Captain Marvel, but just what was your feeling by seeing all that stuff?
First of all, if I'm not mistaken, we watched Fantastic Four Silver Surfer together.
The legendary rise of the Silver Surfer. Fox's greatest. No, I'm just joking. I'm a fanboy. It was trash. I'm a Silver Surfer fan when that movie was trash. But continue.
I love that we're calling back the Silver Surfers. That's amazing.
That's literally our last time in the theater, probably. Yeah, continue.
It's true that you love Silver Surfer.
Yes,
I can vouch for that.
That movie was terrible. I want to go see it.
I love that they're going. I always love the cosmic stuff. I love that they're expanding. I mean, Eternals. What they're gonna do with Eternals is just I can't wait. And the weirder they get, the crazier they get. I love the visuals they use at the end with Mysterio actually doing all the illusions. Yeah. I love when you just sort of break down the walls and start really going weird and crazy. Yeah. So I love the cosmic stuff. I'm glad that obviously it looks like they're going more in that direction. And to circle back to one other thing that you said that I also want to point out, Spider-Man coming into his own. At the end there, I feel like they're finally starting to nail Spider-Man's abilities to the fullest. These movies never have really been able to get him just full throttle, just really being as agile and quick and amazing. The way he took on all the drones at the end, I thought was
it was fantastic. Fantastic! I agree.
Spider-Man action. I thought that was really good. I agree.
I think that he, like I said, I don't know where I feel overall. Can I say he's the best Spider-Man? There's certain aspects of Holland that I really enjoy. And but I will say, I felt like just the agility, the nailing, just the use of his abilities towards the end of this film. I'm like, that's Spider-Man. That's what I want to see. That's, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. And for me personally, I ain't gonna find it was a little feel goody with the MJ thing because I'm like that needed to advance for me. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying, and I like that. I felt the relationship was built naturally and it felt right. Yeah. I didn't feel like, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. Like this was forced or cheesy kind of thing. And I liked it, man. I was cool with it. So I was going to ask you this before we start getting ready to wrap. As far as Spider-Man hierarchy.
Oh, yeah, Tom Holland, the best.
We already going disrespecting Toby? We disrespecting Garfield?
Forget Toby. I mean, look, Spider-Man 3 killed Toby. I mean, I can't... The dance, you know.
The dance was horrible. The dance, it's not his fault.
He's just an actor. He's not writing the script. He's not directing the movie. I mean, that wasn't even Sam Raimi's fault, but I mean, some of it has to be. But
I like Toby.
I like Toby too, and honestly, I like Andrew Garfield. But that's more of an ultimate version, right? Like skateboarding, Spider-Man. That's not my Spidey.
Okay, that's Spidey. Okay.
Tom Holland is a classic Spidey, diminutive, small, you know, he's I don't know. He just captures it really well. Toby was more of the nerdier version. Right. It's like the dweebier, nerdier version.
Some people like Toby's Spidey, and I believe some people like Garfield's Parker, or actually the opposite around. Excuse me. This guy's Parker, and what you call Spidey. Because I felt like I like Garfield's Spidey with the joking while he's fighting and doing all that stuff. I thought that's kind of Spidey in the comics, but I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Holland. I love him to death. I was just curious to hear you say it because some people feel exactly the way you feel.
I put it this way: we haven't had a bad Spidey, so right. So I mean, it's really all about a matter of personal preference and taste. Like I think Toby's great. No doubt. Garfield to put a different.
Why is Holland the number one for you?
I mean, I feel like he is
He
Spidey.
he
Like, I
encapsulates
can't put it really into words. I'm
Gotcha.
watching him and I'm feeling like he's Petey. I'm
No
feeling
doubt.
like he's Spidey,
No
and
doubt.
I'm buying it.
All right. So in the
How about you?
I'm gonna get there. In the hierarchy of Spider-Man films, where is this? I know it's early with raw reaction. We know we prisoners of the moment right now, but we got to get this information. So what do we feel like as far as Spider-Man movie? But just compare it to the last one. Let's start with the last one. Is this better? Is Far From Home better than Homecoming?
Gut reaction, yes.
Okay.
Homecoming, before I watched it again a couple days ago, I had honestly forgotten about a decent amount of it, other than enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like I knew, which is actually kind of a common issue with Marvel movies these days. Like you enjoy them, but they don't really. It's like a good friend of mine, Owen, if he ever watches this, he calls them the movies empty carbs. Like they taste great, but they're not filling. You know, and you're like, oh wow, this is really cool. Like I could say the same thing about Star Wars Episode 7.
Ooh, shots fired.
Shots fired. We'll let that go.
We'll let it go.
So yeah, I mean, I went back and watched it again. I was like, oh, this is really fun. But this, I don't know. I feel like it was a little bit better. My best is Spidey 2.
Okay, no doubt. Yeah, for me, this is a tough one. I think definitely I like this better than Homecoming. You know, Homecoming, I not that I hated it. I understood why it was necessary and how they handle it and the inclusion of the character and how complicated it was to put him into that universe with all the contractual stuff. So I looked at it from a contract. I was like, that's a good job of how they did it. And they didn't go the typical origin story route. This now is more character development and what I want to see, the evolution of Spider-Man. And I'm like, yes. So I'm good with that. As far as the Holland, you put me on the spot with the Holland thing. Oh, wow. Oh, man. I liked Holland. I don't know if I'm ready to give him the title yet. I don't know, but he's really good. He's really good. I need one more film. Just to have a fair assessment. So look, that's pretty much what I got. Roundtable Review is going to wrap this thing up. But overall, your feelings with everything with Spider-Man Far From Home?
Also, I want to give a shout out to J.K. Simmons for the cameo at the end.
Salute.
That was a nice
Salute.
touch.
That was nice.
So all things told, I had a great time. Really enjoyed it. Always do with these Marvel films. And I mean, what they did with the first post-credit scene, they're obviously like setting the stage for something really, really big. So I like how they're pushing things forward pretty aggressively. They could be sitting on their laurels, but they're not. They're pushing it. Overall, very, very happy with it.
No doubt. As the iPick staff is hurrying us out of here, we're going to wrap this up. But yeah, Roundtable Reviews with Lord Jameson, Spider-Man Far From Home. I really enjoyed it. Fantastic film. I think, like Lord Jameson said, this sets up the cosmic universe. We're going to see where this goes next. Hopefully my man Surfer is coming, so I'm excited. And that's all I got. So we are out R&R with the Lords, another successful one. And we out, man.
Thanks, Brian.
Peace.